Hello, everyone. We're so excited to welcome you to campus today. We see all of our folks coming into this wonderful virtual tour of UC Berkeley, and we're super excited to welcome you virtually to our campus. Alrighty, everyone. Well, first and foremost, welcome to UC Berkeley, to this virtual tour of UC Berkeley. My name is Ethan. I use he, him pronouns, and I'll be your moderator for this virtual tour today. And I'm super excited to welcome you all virtually alongside our amazing student ambassadors. But before we dive in today, we want to welcome you. So let's answer this first poll. What type of visitor are you? Are you a newly admitted student or family? Are you currently waitlisted? Are you coming from a community college, a high school? Are you currently in middle school? Or are you a school educator or counselor joining us today? We'll take the next 30-ish seconds to answer the question. Alrighty, folks, it looks like we got almost everyone responding. So we're going to go ahead and close the poll right now and share our results to y'all. So it looks like the majority of y'all are coming from various high schools around the world. And we have one admitted student today. Congratulations, that newly admitted student. We're super happy to welcome you virtually to our campus. We have someone in middle school or a family member who has a middle schooler as well. Super exciting to welcome you all today. We'll go ahead and change our slide. So to give a quick overview of our virtual visit today, this will be a 45-minute presentation. Please type your question and answers, or please type your questions in the Q&A feature. We have disabled the raised hands feature for attendees, so please utilize that Q&A feature. Interactive polls will be given throughout the virtual visit, as you saw one right now. And then if you would like to see any other virtual visit recordings, including recordings in both Spanish and Mandarin Chinese, they are available on our website, visit.berkeley.edu, and as well as our YouTube channel. This virtual visit will mainly consist of a campus overview from a student-focused lens and perspective. During this presentation, we will not be going over any general admissions information or financial aid information. The Office of Undergraduate Admissions has a separate presentation for that. And if you are interested in learning more about that presentation, please visit their website directly. And lastly, we will end with Q&A, and we'll do our best to answer all of your questions live or via one of our chat members. Now, I'm going to turn it over to our amazing student ambassadors to kick us off today.
Good evening. My name is Rohil. I'll be one of your guides today. I'm from Fairfax, Virginia, which is originally near Washington, D.C. That's actually where I'm taking this tour from right now. It's 9:30 p.m. for me right now. I just actually graduated from UC Berkeley, so I'm home for the summer right now, which is pretty nice. I study data science, and I had a minor in geography, and I was involved in several clubs, as you can see on the screen, such as the Data Science Discovery Program, Political Computer Science, Greek life, and intramural soccer. But don't ask me about soccer. I'm not very good at it.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jasmin. I use she, her pronouns. My hometown is Fontana, California. It's somewhere in Southern California. People are like, where is it? I'm like, it's by LA. I am a rising sophomore. I'm majoring in environmental science and hopefully minoring in forestry. Aside from being a campus ambassador, I'm also part of the UC Rally Committee. I would say we're like unofficial cheerleaders. I often am a flag waver, which I go on like the football field or the basketball court and like wave flags. I'm also part of CalPERG, which is a California Public Interest Research Group. We sadly don't do research anymore. We're more of a grassroots organization that specializes in environmental activism. So if you guys have any questions about Spirit of California or research or some sort of activism, please let us know in the Q&A chat and we'll try our best to answer at the end.
All right, so we'll be discussing several topics on this tour to basically encapsulate what makes Berkeley Berkeley. First, be talking about history and culture. We'll also talk about academics, housing and dining, health and safety, student resources, student life, athletics, and libraries and research. And throughout this tour, Jasmin and I will be presenting our personal experiences with the school so that you can get a good taste of not just, information that we're giving out, but also our own personal stories and our own experiences while we've been here at Berkeley.
Yeah, so a little bit about campus overview. We were founded in 1868. We are the first University of California. You have often heard us be called Berkeley, UCB, Cal, all the same thing. We're just UC Berkeley. Our mascot is the golden bear, or more specifically, Oski. You'll see him on the picture on the top left. We are a pretty big school. We have around 33,000 undergraduate students and 12,000 graduate students. Some of my favorite campus landmarks are Sather Tower, also known as the Campanile. You could see it on the top right, and Sather Gate, which is if anybody has watched the what's it called, Monsters University, you will have seen that gate before. It's the Pixar Studios is right by UC Berkeley, so they got inspiration from the campus and put it into their movie. So yeah.
All right, so Berkeley is pretty famous for its culture. So basically, oh yeah, we're on the wrong slide. Okay, there we go. So Berkeley is really famous for its culture of free speech and activism, especially historically. This was the case, especially in the 1960s, where Berkeley was the nexus of the free speech movement, which spread across the United States. This was due to the our like students feeling that they wanted to express their views on events that were going on in the world at the time, and they wanted to do so freely, as at the time you weren't able to do that on college campuses. So as a result, the free speech movement spread across the country, and that's something that we take a lot of pride in at Berkeley, that our students really care about, the causes that they believe in, and they really think about like the impact that their studies can have on the world. This also manifests, especially quite recently, in entrepreneurship. I love walking down Sproul Plaza and seeing like the next new startup that Berkeley students are creating. We do have a program called Berkeley Skydeck, which is meant to basically act as an incubator for like different startup ideas. It's a really there's a lot in tandem with the rest of the Bay Area. There's a lot of innovation and a lot of like new thought that's happening all the time, even as a student. We do have really great school spirit. In the bottom right, you can see a picture of a RallyCom, which I believe Jasmin is a member of. And RallyCom is really cool. You'll see them all around, especially right before game days. We have many campus traditions, such as the night before a Stanford Berkeley like football game, we'll have this basically we'll all pack everyone into the Greek theater and we'll burn like a tree, because Stanford's mascot is a tree. That's like the one time you'll see Berkeley students advocating for burning trees. Otherwise, we're very environmentally conscious. But yeah, we Berkeley strives to make a very welcoming, diverse community. I like to say that no matter who you are at Berkeley, you will find your place. Again, we are a very big school, and we like to pride ourselves on the fact that, we have people from all over. Even though our school is about 70 to 75% California residents, California is still a state of 40 million people. I don't know why I said 2 million, but it's huge. And that's why we try to bring as many different perspectives, and you can really learn from a lot of people by being at this school.
Next, I'm going to talk a little bit about the undergraduate colleges, but before we do have a poll for you guys. Where are you guys joining us from? I'm currently right here in Southern California, but let's see.
Okay, like the East Coast. Oh, is that a majority? Oh, wow.
Alrighty, and we are going to end our poll. Let's see the results. A lot of Northern California, some Southern California. Alrighty, I'm glad that you guys are visiting us from all around either California or the East Coast or around the world. We are going to talk a little bit about the different undergraduate colleges. We do have 6. We have the Letters and Science College, Bowser College of Natural Resources, which is my college, Environmental Design College, College of Chemistry, College of Engineering, and then our newest one, which is the College of Computing, Data Science, and Society, CDSS. We also have an undergraduate program that's part of the Haas Business School, but we'll talk a little bit more about them in detail in the next slides.
All right, so the College of Letters and Science is one of our largest, or not one of our, it's the largest college here at Berkeley. It has many, many different majors that are all housed under the same college, anywhere from French to political science, to math, to physics, to molecular and cell biology, you name it. There are so many different majors under this college. I really love the College of Letters and Science. When I started at Berkeley, I was a student in the College of Letters and Science. The data science major has been moved around, and we'll talk more about that later. But I really love the College of Letters and Science because you get to take several breadth courses. What that means is you have to take 7 different breadths in like different subject areas. And that means it's really great because if you're undecided or if you want to figure out if you want to add a second major or a minor, this is one really great way to do it. You have to do one like biological sciences class, one history class, one philosophy class, etc. So I found this was a really great way to both explore my interests and also figure out if I wanted to add a second major or a minor, which I ended up adding a geography minor as well. And I thought that was a really great way to get a nice, well-rounded education while also getting to really study your own subject in depth.
Next, I'm going to talk a little bit about Browser College of Natural Resources. My favorite college. I'm a little biased because it is my college. It's one of our founding colleges. Fun fact, UC Berkeley was originally intended to be an agricultural school, but we're not an agricultural school. As you see, we have a variety of majors, but some of the majors in our Browser College of Natural Resources are molecular environmental biology, society and environment, environmental economics and policy, conservation resource studies, and obviously environmental science. My favorite part about this college is that they do offer a lot of opportunities for research. There's a program called SPUR, which is sponsored projects for undergraduate research, which pairs students in this college with faculty members so they can get more experience in the field, learn if research is for them, and then just be set up to get like these bigger like internship roles or lab opportunities in the future, which I think I really enjoy. I've yet to participate, but maybe next year.
All right. Our next college is the College of Environmental Design. This is our smallest college, and it houses majors such as architecture, urban studies, and sustainable environmental design. So although the name might sound like it's kind of like the Rausser College of Natural Resources and focused on sustainability, it has more of an architecture, urban planning focus. I actually did take a class in the College of Environmental Design. It was actually a requirement for my data science degree. So I really enjoyed this class, and the building, Bauer Worcester Hall, is really cool. You can see it kind of in the bottom right. It's built to be very eco-friendly, and it's actually really interesting how the pillars, like between windows, like you see those pillars kind of in the video, you can see that the pillars are actually meant to optimize the amount of sunlight that enters the room. That way, it minimizes the heating and cooling costs based on the natural like sunlight outside, which I think is really, really cool. And that's just one of the many ways that Bauer Worcester Hall is built to be very sustainable in that way. So it's a little bit of a different focus on sustainability, more on like an architecture side rather than like a biological environmental side. So yeah.
Next, I'm going to talk a little bit about the College of Chemistry. It's one of our smaller colleges. It roughly houses around 1,000 students. It has 3 majors: chemistry, chemical engineering, and chemical biology. A lot of students thought like, oh, chemical engineering is going to be in the College of Engineering. No surprise, it's actually in the College of Chemistry. Fun fact, we did discover 16 elements within our chemistry department, some of them being berkelium and californium. What I really like about this college is that it has like its classes in Pimentel, Latimer. I took a chemistry class back in my fall semester. I personally like more night classes. I'm not much of a morning person. So the range when you can take classes is like very wide. You can take a lab starting at 8 in the morning or as late at 6 to 9 p.m., which is the lab that I took. It was super convenient since it was right by my residence hall, but we will get a little bit more in depth about residence halls later in the slides.
All right, and next we're talking about the College of Engineering. So this was again one of our original colleges, and Berkeley Engineering is very, very widely known for their high quality engineering programs such as electrical engineering and computer science, or EECS for short. Also our bioengineering, mechanical engineering, and our industrial engineering and operations research or IEOR are some of our many majors that we do house here in the College of Engineering. I also took a class in the College of Engineering through the mechanical engineering department. Basically it was about like ethics and technology, and I thought it was really interesting. So again, if you're not in a certain college, you still are able to like cross enroll in different colleges and take advantage of the different resources that each one offers. But obviously students in each college and each major will get priority for the classes that they can take. The College of Engineering does have some the College of Engineering has been at the forefront of a lot of different research in engineering. For example, the EECS department has done research in like, for example, like the BSD, if you're a computer science person, you've heard of BSD, that was developed through our computer science department through our College of Engineering. So pretty cool. Lots of research goes on and lots of innovation.
Now we're going to talk about, drumroll please, the College of Computing, Data Science, and Society, the CDSS. It is the first or our newest college in over 50 years. It houses 3 majors: computer science, data science, and statistics. Around 1,500 students graduated with one of these 3 degrees in spring 23. So we have a brand new college open just for them. If you look on the top right, that is what the college will look like in the future. We currently do not have it built, but maybe some of you prospective students who are still in high school and are going to come to UC Berkeley will have a brand new building when you walk on campus. If you guys want more information about this, you guys should go to data.berkeley.edu. But I think it's really cool. I've been thinking about data science a little bit, but who knows?
Yeah, and just wanted to piggyback off of that as a data science major. It's really exciting, all the new initiatives that are taking place for CDSS. I'm honestly really envious that I just graduated and I'm missing out on it, but I'm really excited for the new generation of data scientists and computer scientists and statisticians. Cool. So now we're going to talk about the Haas School of Business. So the Haas School of Business, even though it is technically a graduate school, there also are undergraduate programs that are offered there. We do have the Spiker Undergraduate Business Program, which is a 4-year program. But what it used to be was that you would apply to Berkeley under a different major and then transfer in during your sophomore year. But thanks to the gift of the Spiker family and also just recognition that not knowing if you'll be a business major until 2 years into your education can be a deterrent for students, we now have a full 4-year program, which is awesome. So you will apply just directly to our business school as a high school senior or as a transfer if that's what you want to do. And that's something that you can definitely do as well, which I think is really cool. We also do have 2 specialized programs, the Global Management Program and the MET, or Management, Entrepreneurship, and Technology Program. The Global Management Program is really cool because you actually get to spend your first semester in London studying like international business, and then you come back to Berkeley and spend your second semester as your first semester at Berkeley. And MET is meant to get where you get 2 separate degrees, one in business and one in engineering. So that's a really great program if you want to combine like engineering and entrepreneurship. But yeah, and then also if you come to Berkeley and you change your mind, maybe your freshman or sophomore year, you're like, I want to do business. There still is that business major pathway for 2 years. It would just be a lot harder to get into than if you applied to it directly as, before you came to Berkeley. Cool. And that's Haas. Haas is a beautiful building, by the way. Really, really nice.
I second that. It has one of my favorite libraries, the Haas Business Library. Especially because there's a section of the windows that face towards the sun as the sun is setting. My favorite. Anyways, let's talk about the graduate schools. We do have 9 graduate schools. Haas School of Business being one of them. Although it does have an undergraduate program, but it is still a graduate school. We have the School of Education, the School of Information, also known as iSchool. If you look at the bottom right, you will see that is South Hall. It's currently where iSchool, or the School of Information, is being held or is being taught. A little bit about that. It's not just a building. South Hall is the oldest building on campus. It was constructed in 1873, and I think it's very cool, very nice looking. Anyways, we also have Berkeley Law, which is very nice. The library, it's a little hard to get into. It's not like the Haas Business Library, but if you guys are able to get in, it's It's wonderful to study at. We also have the Graduate School of Social Welfare, optometry, which has its own clinic, but we'll talk a little bit about that in health and safety. The School of Journalism. We are the only UC with a graduate school of journalism. So if you guys are interested in journalism, maybe come to Berkeley for graduate school. We also have the School of Public Health and Public Policy. And if you guys want more information about these, again, I encourage you guys to look at grad.berkeley.edu.
All right, so now we're going to talk about housing and dining. So the vast majority of our freshmen live in university residence halls, doubles, triples, quads, suites, even some singles. We do offer a lot of different options in that way. Generally, most people have doubles or triples. I got a double my freshman year, and I went random for my roommate, and I really didn't know what to expect, but my roommate was great. Still talk to him today. He was actually on that intramural soccer team that I mentioned earlier that I asked you not to ask me about, but he was way better than I was. But we actually do offer like a guarantee of housing for freshmen to live on campus, which is really great. After that, it is not guaranteed, but you're still able to apply. And for transfers, we actually do have our brand new Helen Diller Anchor House. And currently for transfers, housing is not yet guaranteed, but there is a strong priority for transfers as well. Now that we just opened up the Helen Diller Anchor House, of which Ethan is actually an RA in Helen Diller Anchor House, is now a lot more accessible for transfers to live in Berkeley campus dorms. So after your first year, many students tend to move off campus. This is more just because there's a lot of options offered off campus. There's a lot more flexibility. Sometimes the price might be more affordable or it might be more desirable. I moved off campus after my first year, and there's many places to go. For example, just local apartment buildings, the co-op system, which is like a student-run housing, which is also really popular. There's also the Greek life system, and there's also like continuing apartments, which are still technically on campus, but they feel a little more off campus because they're run by the university, but they kind of just act as an apartment building. So there are a lot of many different options for where you want to live during your 4 years at Berkeley. If you're living in on-campus housing, most of those will offer meal plans. If you're living in a traditional dorm, you will definitely have a meal plan. And honestly, I felt that I really liked the food, although I would say that when I was a freshman, I would go to the dining hall and I liked it, but when I went to the dining hall as a senior with my friend who still had a meal plan, it was really good. Like one day I went, they had pho. One day they had like ice cream and boba. Like they have some really creative meals that I've really enjoyed. So that's kind of the take on the dining halls, and there's one next to every single dorm, as well as a couple on campus that are more like on-campus restaurants. I really like Brown's Cafe. They have good like salmon bowls, and I don't really like fish, and I still really like them. So yeah, that's our housing. If you are interested in learning more, there is a QR code which you can scan to learn a little more, and housing.berkeley.edu is replete with all sorts of information about all of our different dorms and what they offer.
Yeah, so I am a rising sophomore, so I just came out from living from the dorms. For me, it was a wonderful experience, I will have to say. I had 3 other roommates, but I lived in Foothills, so the dining hall was right there. But let's talk a little bit about health and safety, more specifically physical and mental health. We do have a lot of resources here on campus, some of them being CAPS, which is counseling and psychological services. They help either counseling in person or via Zoom. We also have the optometry eye clinic, urgent care, primary care, pharmacies, and other for students. We also have an insurance called SHIP. SHIP is not mandatory for all students. You can opt out. However, the university does require everybody to be insured, whether it be with the university via SHIP or with an outside provider. You just have to show like proof. However, my favorite part of like mental health and like that will help me stress reliever on campus is definitely Pause for Mental Health or Llama-Palooza. Pause for Mental Health, they bring out like dogs on Sproul. Sproul is the south entrance of campus. A lot of people tabling. A lot of the times I would come out from eating lunch from maybe one of the eateries, which is located on south side of campus, and I would be walking to class, but I would see a dog. I was like, wait, let me go pet that golden retriever real quick. I also had a friend that volunteered with Pause for Mental Health. So every time he's like, oh, I'm volunteering with them. They're out on Sprout today. I was like, get me there. I want to go pet that dog. There's also something called Llama-palooza. They bring out llamas to the Glade. The Glade is this big green area on campus right in front of the university library, also known as the Doe Library. Usually before finals or before midterms, I would see the llamas out on the Glade, and I'd be like, oh, I need a picture with one. They would let you feed them. I remember there was one called Chai. I will never forget Chai because he just sat there with me and I was handing it a carrot. So I highly recommend coming here, maybe just for the llamas.
Second that. I love Llama-palooza. When I was a freshman, I was on my dorm's hall association, and one of my co-hall association members actually is now like the person in the school student government who runs Llama-palooza. So big shout out to Kenny. He's really cool. Anyway, so in terms of health and safety, I'd like to talk about our different safety resources that we have here. So I've always felt, yes, love Kenneth. So basically, our safety resources are really great. We have, for example, the UC Police Department, which is not the Berkeley Police Department, which is for the city of Berkeley. There's actually a separate police department just for the University of California. We also have blue light poles, which are really great because you're able to, just be walking around campus and you'll always see a blue light. And if you ever need to use an emergency phone and get in contact with safety, any like safety resources for whatever reason, you can always find that. Although I like to joke that a lot of them have cobwebs on them because there's never really a need to use them on campus, as in like I've always felt safe walking around the Berkeley campus. I would say though, Berkeley is a city of over 100,000 people. So once you do get off campus, especially late at night, again, it is a very urban place. So it is good to take some precautions. We do have many resources that you can take advantage of. For example, Safe Walk is a really great resource where a student who's a trained security officer is able to walk you back home from a location on campus to a location off campus. And also we do have the night safety shuttle, which makes a loop around campus. It goes to all the different dorms. It goes to the BART station, which is kind of like our local train / subway station. And that's like a really great way to get around campus at night as well. Once my friend and I had the really bright idea of going on a scavenger hunt, and it was like during our freshman year, and it ended at 2 a.m. like all the way on the northwest corner of campus near Rouser. And we had to go to the southeast corner of campus, and we just took the night safety shuttle. It was super easy. We were also like new to the campus. It was like, I think it was like 2 weeks into the school year, and since then I've always been a night safety shuttle fan. So yeah.
I second that. I used to live on the northeast side of campus. So sometimes when I would go and get like boba on south side, which is where a lot of our food is at, I would definitely take the shuttle back up because I was like, I can walk down, but I don't know if I can walk up that hill. So let's talk a little bit about student resources. We do have a lot of resources, whether it be identity and community resources via the ASUC, which is the Associated Students of University of California. They're kind of like our student body. We have this Transfer Student Center, the Undocumented Student Center, as well as maybe the Disabled Students Program, the Basic Needs Center. I know that I really use the Basic Needs Center. It's kind of like a food pantry on campus. You can go as a student once a week for free, get whatever you need, whether that be rice, beans, meat, tofu, milk, eggs, vegetables. They have pretty much everything there. All you have to do is wait in line and you go in and like come right back out. I know they had some stuff during the summer, but it was more like pop-up events. I remember I used to, well, this summer I spent it in Berkeley, half of it. I'm back home now, but I would go with me and my friends would go get food and then we'd all cook together. So it's a really good resources, specifically if you don't want to go far to like a grocery store or if you just are in need of some food. One of my favorite though, aside from that, is the SLC, which is the Student Learning Center. It's located in the Cesar Chavez building, and the Student Learning Center provides tutors from 9 a.m. to I believe 6 p.m., whether that be in math, statistics, physics, chemistry, you name it, bio, it was probably there. I remember last year I heavily used it for calculus and for physics because I was like, I can't do this by myself. They also held like online review sessions before each quiz. And especially for chemistry, they held like midterm reviews or before the final, they held reviews. It was really helpful just on the times where I couldn't attend like in-person hours with my professor or with my GSI. So I highly recommend utilizing a lot of these resources on campus. They're here to help you, specifically Student Learning Center. And it's right next to the Golden Bear Cafe. So sometimes I get food and then just go and study. So highly recommend.
All right, so student life. There are over 1,000 registered student organizations. And when I say that, it sounds like I'm exaggerating. It's really not. I think the official number is like 1,100 something. And there's just so many different communities that you can find here while you're at Berkeley. I remember once I was walking down Memorial Glade and I saw people running around on broomsticks. We do actually have a Quidditch team that is really good, apparently. They went to World Championships in West Virginia. But aside from that, there are tons of academic clubs, many cultural clubs, lots of community service-oriented clubs, which I think is really awesome because there are just so many different ways to, find your community while you're here at Berkeley. And that was something that I was really worried about, again, as an out-of-state student. No one from my high school ever went to Berkeley, and I didn't really know anyone. So I was really worried I wouldn't find, my people. And yet I did. There's so many I just loved meeting people through these different clubs and really getting to make friends who I'm, still, I mean, I've only been out of college for a couple months, but I still talk to some of them every day. So it's good to keep, it's good to make those connections in that way. There's also the Career Center, which is really, really great for connecting you with local internships and as well as, recruiting for full-time jobs. I actually did get a full-time job offer from a career fair, and I wasn't even planning to go. I was just walking by our gym and I saw a line for the career fair and I was like, wait, that's today? So I went home and I changed and I just walked around the career fair, and next thing I knew, I was interviewing with a company I'd met there, and that's the place where I'll be working in a month. So pretty random, but it shows how our career fair is really great. Our career center is really great with bringing companies that really want to hire Berkeley talent, and that's what I really love about our career center. Next is the study abroad program. So UC Berkeley has its own Berkeley study abroad program, as well as sharing it with the rest of the UCs in the UC Education Abroad program, or UC EAP. So my sophomore year, I actually studied abroad in Singapore through UC EAP, and this was a really, really great experience. Berkeley has its own programs as well. For example, UC Berkeley operates a research station off the coast of Tahiti, and only Berkeley students are able to spend like about a semester there doing research on the local marine life that lives there. But also the UC EAP programs are available whether you go to like UCLA or another UC, which is nice because that means that we have a huge variety of different programs that you can take advantage of for like the semester or for the summer or for a year. And finally, the Bay Area exploration is a really, really, really cool thing of what I love about being at Berkeley. Again, as someone who was new to the Bay Area, there's just so much to see. San Francisco is only 20 minutes away on BART, which is like our regional kind of metro / subway network that gets you around the Bay Area. So it was really easy to get there by BART. Also, you do get a free bus pass, so exploring like the local city of Berkeley, exploring Oakland. There's so much to see. I would sometimes take the bus to go like on a run out in the hills. So this was a really great way to just explore and really get to know the Bay Area. And even from like a career standpoint, there's so many internships that you can do part-time while you're at Berkeley, whether it's working at a lab in Oakland doing like biological research, working at like an advocacy office in San Francisco, or working at a local tech startup. There's so many ways to get involved no matter what your major or what your goals are.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about athletics. I'm not much of an athlete myself, but I am part of the rally committee. So I've been to almost every football and basketball game, and I can say the spirit is there. We do have Division 1 teams. We used to be part of the Pac-12, but the Pac-12 became the Pac-2, the Pacific Atlantic Conference. So now we're part of the ACC, the Atlantic Coast Conference. Fret not, we are still going against Stanford because they are part of the ACC now. So the big game is still going on. For those of you that are unaware, the big game is the game against Stanford, since they are our rival school. This is a very big celebration. The band comes out. There's flags everywhere. It's one of my favorite celebrations on campus. But aside from our D1 teams, we also have club and intramural or recreational sports. So maybe you like sports, don't want to give up sports that you did since like high school, but you don't want to go so serious and be D1, we have club and intramural sports. I have a few friends that do ultimate frisbee. Shout out to Eve. She is very good. You still compete. They go on like closer competitions, but it's still nice regardless. You form a community. The California Memorial Stadium is where our football team plays. It's a very beautiful stadium. We do have like the commencement ceremonies are there during Cal Day. We do also have several other little like buildings, not buildings, but certain like the Korean Visitor Center. If you guys want to come and visit campus, I recommend hiking up to the Memorial Stadium and then saying hi to the visitor, not to the visitors, to the workers in the Korea Visitor Center. There's also Haas Pavilion, which hosts our basketball games for both men and women, as well as volleyball and other sports. Do not get this confused with the Haas Plaza. The Haas Plaza is the Haas Business Plaza where the library is at. I remember since I was a freshman last year, Radley comes like, okay, let's meet at Haas Pavilion. I was like, yeah, let's go. I went to Haas Plaza, which is on the east side of campus, and Haas Pavilion is on the west side of campus. And I was like, no. So I had to run all the way there to get to be on time for the basketball game. I should have made the connection that I was like, that we're watching a basketball game. Why would we be in the business school? But that's a story for a different time. We also have the RSF, which is a recreational sports facility, which is the big gym for all of our students. Each of our residence halls does have a like mini gym, some sort of like weights and like running machines, but the RSF is where all of our bigger machines, it's a bigger place where you can play like badminton, there's courts to play basketball. There's even a rock climbing wall. So if you guys are interested in rock climbing, we even got that. And not to brag, but we do have 223 Olympic gold medals from either alumni or current students from Cal.
Cool. So we have 27 on-campus libraries, and there are so many different books in all of these libraries, which I think is so cool. You can see in the top left, you can see Doe Library. This is probably like our flagship library. You can see this is open to the public, so you are able to, you know, even as a visitor, just come in and see our grand reading rooms. My real favorite is like the North Reading Room. It's like a long, long line of just like tables and books, and I just love studying there because there's like a nice vaulted golden ceiling. Then to our top right, you can also see the Moffett Library. This is, although this is closed off to the public, you must have a Cal ID to enter. It's not really a library at all. There's no books in it, but it is one of the busiest libraries in North America, and it has 5 floors, and each one is like steadily quieter and quieter. The first floor is pretty loud, but by the time you get to the 5th floor, it's absolute silence. You are not allowed to talk on the 5th floor. So I like that you're able to choose like what study environment you want just within the same building. Our other libraries are all like subject themed. For example, there's the East Asian Library, which has mainly like East Asian texts. There's the Earth Science and Map Library, which I actually used to go to a lot as a geography minor, which they had, you know, like maps, which I think is really pretty cool. And my favorite, or I would say my favorite is the music library. Even though I'm not a huge music person, they did have a lot of really cool like music pieces, and I just like love the study environment there, where you could like kind of look out over the walkway and see the College of Environmental Design. It's just super nice, and it was only 2 minutes from my house, so that's probably why it was my favorite, because it was so close by. But yeah. So we also do have a lot of research on that topic of, you know, reading and learning. We do have a lot of research opportunities. URAP is probably the most significant one. And within URAP, you'll find that there's the biggest department that uses like URAP is actually history. So you might have thought it might have been like a science department that uses a lot of undergraduate researchers, but the history department does some really cool research. I know one study that they did was developing coming up with the or like justifying the existence of the US Spanish dialect. So like the dialect that Spanish speakers use in the US as a distinct dialect from other varieties of Spanish, which I thought was pretty cool. But yeah, that's research. You're able to get involved with it as early as your freshman year. Also, departments have their own opportunities. I was in the data science discovery program, which is a really, really great way to partner with either departments on campus or also local organizations to practice and hone your data science skills while creating something pretty real for the world. I worked with a local housing nonprofit, and there were some other really cool projects that I think it's really great if you want to make a, explore data science a bit. It's a really great program to get involved in.
Yeah, and let's talk a little bit about our famous alumni. We have Jennifer Doudna, which was a Nobel Prize winner in chemistry. We have Chris Pine, if anybody is like Star Trek or Wonder Woman. We do have Alex Morgan, which is a World Cup winner. But I do like if you go around campus, you'll see some signs by parking that says reserved for Nobel laureate. I do like giving a little joke like, oh, like if you want free parking in Berkeley, all you have to do is win a Nobel Prize. But we do have a lot of famous alumni. We do have 22 Nobel laureates in our very campus, one third of them being from the physics department, which is very cool, like Oppenheimer and other very famous people.
Cool. So I really love the Berkeley campus. I was just, wowed when I first walked onto campus as a freshman. And I really love if you can see the trees and just walking through like the west side of campus, it's just so green, which I really love, especially being from the East Coast. Just I miss that greenery, and I really felt that when I came back to Berkeley. We also have our very famous Berkeley squirrels. Love our Berkeley squirrels. They have little golden flecks on their tails and they run around all the time. They're very beloved by our campus. We also have a family of falcons that live on top of the campanile, which is our bell tower, and you'll see them flying around. They are also very beloved by our student community, and by just the community of Berkeley as a city. The fire trails is also somewhere where I love going. Basically, these trails that work up past the Memorial Stadium, they go up into the hills, and you can get some really wonderful views of the entire Bay Area. You can see the Golden Gate Bridge, you can see the San Francisco skyline. I would just love going on fire trails. Like I would do it almost like after every like my last final exam of the semester, I'd go up to the fire trails and just have a really nice, look out on our beautiful city. So yeah, that's there's some really cool campus highlights, and I could go on and on and on, but there's just so many different highlights that you can see. Just it's just a treat to be on the Berkeley campus.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much, Rohil and Jasmin, for that amazing, amazing overview of campus. So grateful to have you all with us today. We are now going to actually transition into our Q&A portion of the tour. And so we are encouraging folks to please ask your questions in the chat, or not in the chat, in our Q&A feature. So that way we can answer them live on our screen. So please feel free to keep asking away all those questions. And so that way we can go ahead and answer them. All right, it looks like we have our first question, which is how accessible is it to connect with professors outside of classes to discuss research opportunities and other teaching? Rohil, Jasmin.
I can do it unless Jasmin, you want to.
Yeah, I can talk a little bit about it. I had just finished my first year and I had my favorite professor to date. His name is Ignacio. He taught environmental biology. Some classes are a little bit bigger, whereas like I had my math class, which is around 500 students, so it was a little harder to connect with the professor. However, my environmental biology class, which is a little bit more of a concentrated class, we had around 200 students and the professor taught his discussion sections. He also taught the lectures. I found it really easy to connect with him, specifically more because like it was a smaller class. I went to all the discussion sections. He was planning on doing some research and he's like, "Oh, I would love to have you on your team. Just reach out." We've been in close contact, so I think it's pretty easy as long as you go to like maybe office hours or discussion section, whether that be your professor teaches discussion sections. If he teaches only like office hours and lectures, I recommend taking opportunity of those office hours. But I'm not very experienced, so I don't know if Rohil has anything to add on that.
Sure. So I would say that I feel that office hours are a really great way to get to know both your professor and also just learn the content and review the content. I went to office hours pretty frequently during my time at Berkeley. It was almost like a running joke that in one of the classes I was taking, I would come to office hours like every single Thursday and always be like, me again, it's me. And I got to really get to know that TA really well. As for professors, they will always have their own office hours set aside for a lot of bigger classes, especially if you're taking like a more technical or like a class that, requires a lot more, like has a higher, like a bigger like freshman sophomore population. There will also be like office hours led by TAs, which are meant more for like just getting the help that you need, because obviously the professor can only meet like once or twice a week for office hours. So I felt that for some classes, like you'll have office hour slots like every single day that you're able to go to that are very accessible. This is how I got the help that I needed for many of my classes. For example, in my probability class, which I really really struggled in, I was able to get a lot of really important help in that class by going to office hours, talking to my professor, and talking to the other TAs that would be there just to understand the concepts and move forward. I would say that professors are pretty accessible, especially as you move up, and your classes get smaller and smaller, when you go from like a freshman to like a sophomore to junior. Then I found that the older you get, the more accessible your professors become. But even in those really big classes, you still are able to reach out to them and connect with them, and understand, like, a lot of them are really happy to chat about why they got into teaching, why they love their subjects, and maybe even offer some helpful advice to you. So yeah.
No, I can definitely agree from my own experience too that like it is really, really cool to have such amazing resources accessible outside of the classroom to discuss research as well. Speaking from my own experience, even taking virtual classes this summer, I took a virtual research and education class this summer, and it was taught by this amazing professor. And having access to like all of his knowledge outside of class, like during our office hours, even though class was asynchronous, he always made it a point to make sure that we had office hours accessible to him, and being able to like go and talk to him and ask about his research. He's researching decolonial education, and that's a concept that I'm really interested in as someone who identifies as an Indigenous person. And so getting those one-on-one connections with faculty is definitely something really, really awesome. Another question I'd love to ask our tour guides as well is, how can someone make friends in such a large campus? Berkeley is a really large institution. So how can you make friends and really find your people on campus?
So for me, I was really scared. I was like, I'm coming from my high school. Nobody else that I know is coming to my high school. What if I'm alone? So we do have something called GBO, which is Golden Bear Orientation. It's mainly freshmen. They also have one for transfer students. They group you up in like, for me, it was students that lived on my same floor or in floors close to the ones that I lived in. And they take you out for like 5 days, like show you around campus. Some take you to San Francisco, and you really get to like bond and meet those people. What I did was, the week that they're like, okay, school is beginning, I was like, okay, I'm gonna eat dinner with these people. So I went and like I knocked on their doors every day at 7. And I was like, do you guys want to have dinner at 7:20? And eventually some said no, some said yes. So I ended up getting like a group of people, and for the rest of the school year, we ate dinner every single day at 7:20 in the dining hall. That's how I found my closest, more intimate group of friends. But I also recommend you guys going out to clubs. For example, Rallycom, they're really spirited people, always really joyful, excited, as well as CalPERG. You can find common interest within clubs, or I found a few friends just by sitting next to the same person every single class until I was like, hey, so what's your name? And that's how I found some of my closest like study buddies. So it just depends where you want to find your friends, whether that be clubs. There's a lot of opportunities like clubs, meeting people in your like own residence halls, or just sitting next to the same person in class. I don't know if Rohil has anything to add, or Ethan.
Sure. Well, I mean, my story is pretty similar to Jasmine's. Pretty much exactly the same, honestly. Some of my closest friends from Berkeley were the ones who lived in my freshman year dorm, who I still talk to like literally every day, even though we're not together in Berkeley anymore. Also, I made a lot of friends through the different clubs that I joined. I joined a fraternity. I made some of my closest friends there. I also joined like different, like, different clubs, like volunteering, or even this job, this campus ambassador job, is where I met some of my closest friends. And that's just the really wonderful thing about Berkeley, is that there's just so many places to meet people, and it might take some work on your own to find those different clubs, and you might just that's all you have to do though, and that can be those will be your friends for your entire time while you're at Berkeley. So that's what I'd honestly recommend, just putting yourself out there, just trying to join different clubs and get involved in things that even if you're like kind of not sure, just put yourself out there, and that's something that I really found was great.
I definitely agree to both those answers as well from my own experience as a student at Berkeley, especially the fact of like putting yourself out there. Because ultimately, when you put yourself out there, you'll never know who you'll meet and encounter. And like some of my closest friends as well, I met because I put myself out there by joining clubs on campus as well. Like I'm involved. I've been involved with our student government since I was a first year on campus. I'm also, as Rohil mentioned, I'm a resident assistant. So I build a lot of community within our dorms as well. And so working together to kind of build a community with other people really straightens those bonds. And I think Berkeley is such an amazing institution to like be able to do that. And so you'll really find those long lasting connections there. And even taking a courageous leap and maybe even starting your own club on campus. Like as Rohil mentioned earlier in their visit, we have over 1100 to 1200 clubs here on our campus, and we're always looking for more. So definitely keep that in mind if you want to make your own community account. I'm actually the founder of my own club too, called ASAP, which is for people who want to go into public education. So things to keep in mind as well. Another question for our amazing tour guides as well is, are classes taught by teaching assistants, or as we call them at Berkeley, GSIs? And maybe add on a little bit about what's your experience with classes taught by graduate student instructors.
All right, I can go ahead and take this one. So, classes will always have a professor, and the professor will always teach like in a lecture format. There are some classes, especially a lot of our larger classes, that will have discussion sections that are additional to the lecture that are taught by graduate student instructors. So it will never be that a class is just, led and lectured by a graduate student instructor, and that's the only way you can learn. In fact, I would say the lecture is like the main way where you learn the content, and that's always from a professor, usually a professor who's very, very advanced in their field, has made some really, really cool discoveries. I remember my computer science intro to computer science professor. She was actually one of the developers of like the APCS course on Khan Academy. My linear algebra professor had his own like Wikipedia page because they did some really cool math research. So you can never I feel like our professors are really, really great. And the reason why we have discussion sections as well is because for those classes that are over like 50 to 100 people, it's good to also have a smaller learning environment for folks that thrive in that, learning more directly. And the discussions are meant to not teach new content, but review the content that you learned in lecture, either through Socratic seminars or quizzes or practice problems, depending on, what the content of the class is. And this is a really great way to also get to know this is a really great way to like collaborate with your fellow students and learn that way. So in that way, yes, there is some teaching from graduate students, but it's not that the graduate students are per se leading the lecture. It's more that they're leading those smaller sections that take place in addition to lecture, that you should be attending both lecture and discussion.
No, yeah, definitely. And as well as like there's a ton of classes on Berkeley. Around 85% of our classes here are like taught by faculty, are mainly taught by faculty as well. Like we have, as Rojo mentioned, a lot of the courses here are lecture and discussion. And so you have the opportunity to interact with people that are in various different types of stages within their academic journey, which I think gives a really fresh breath of knowledge here at UC Berkeley. One of the final questions as we kind of end our time together today, folks, that was asked was, with UC Berkeley being such a large institution with so many students, over 45,000 students, how do you just not get lost in the crowd? And like, how do professors pay attention to like individual student progress as they navigate their academic coursework?
Jasmin, you want to take this one? I can do it too.
Yeah, well, a lot of it's not like high school, so it is very like you have to be in control of you doing your homework and you attending lectures and stuff. But there are like certain like attendance that they take. I know my chemistry class, they had a like attendance like iClicker thing. They're like, oh yeah, we're here. But mainly if you want to interact with your professors, again, like go to office hours, like attending discussions, it will help you. But I feel like maybe Rohil has more to say about this.
Sure. Yeah, that was all super true. And I've had that same experience in my classes as well. Also, I would say that your success is on you while you're at Berkeley. Because it is a very big school. Your professors will do their best to, make sure that you're on track. And I felt that my GSIs and my professors did care about me. I remember in one of my classes I was slipping and I was able to get the help that I needed to do better in that class. That being said, if you're not seeking out the help, it probably won't come to you. So what I know, one of my family friends is a Berkeley alumni, and he had a really great quote. If you want something at Berkeley, it will be there, but you have to go get it. And that applies to your academic success as well. If you're struggling and if you need help, there is a place to go, but you have to go there yourself and get it. So that's what I would say in terms of in terms of watching for your success. I would say that's where it comes down to, there is an element of where you have to go seek that out, but it is very easy to seek out, is what I'm trying to say. But I've always felt that my professors are, I remember once in my probability class, I was like, concerned that I wasn't doing that well, but I was able to, just go to office hours all the time and talk to my TA who's like, I don't get this. Why can't I do it this way? Or like, I don't understand why I got this wrong on the quiz. Why did I get this wrong? And why is this the right answer? And just, I feel that in that way, as long as you just search for it, you will get the help that you need. Jasmin or Ethan, if you want to piggyback off of that, feel free.
That was a really great answer, both of you. Thank you so much for sharing all that knowledge with our prospective students and even our one admitted student in the audience as well about like taking charge of your own academics here at UC Berkeley. I think that's also one of the biggest things I gained out of my own undergraduate experience here at Berkeley was really gaining a new sense of independence. And I think Berkeley's really taught me how to seek that help and also make that change my own way with faculty and with graduate student instructors and really seek that mentorship as well. There are no more final questions in the chat. Thank you both so much for all your amazing guidance and answers. We're going to bring up our closing slide today as we end our time together. So folks, as we continue on and as you leave us today from this virtual space, thank you so much for joining us. To get in touch with us, if you're interested in seeing the physical side of campus as well and getting placed into campus, we have a really cool tour through UVisit. So if you go to uvisit.com/Berkeley, you can check out a tour that will actually place you in the center of campus and you get to explore it virtually, but you get to really see all the buildings and all the amazing details that's associated with it. Please give us a follow on Instagram or Facebook at Visit UC Berkeley to see all the amazing work that our amazing ambassadors such as Rohil, Jasmin, everyone on our back end and myself do. If you have any additional questions that we were not able to answer today, or you don't feel like having them answered here live with us today, please feel free to email tour@berkeley.edu and a student ambassador will answer your question. I would love to encourage you all to also read our Bear Talk blog at beartalk.berkeley.edu. This is a virtual blog that is ran by our ambassadors at UC Berkeley, and you get to read a lot more about their experiences through various different things. You actually see a couple of my postings on there too, and I believe Jasmine's also one of our writers this summer. So you get to see a little bit about like what the things that we do outside of giving tours. In addition, as I mentioned at the very beginning, we do have recorded virtual visits available on our YouTube channel, also visit at UC Berkeley. And if you would like to see a virtual tour in Spanish or Mandarin Chinese, we also have those available as well. We have 2 QR codes as well listed on your screen. First is the admissions presentation. As we mentioned, the Office of Undergraduate Admissions has their separate presentation, so you're more than welcome to register there for an in-person or virtual admissions presentation. And lastly, as we depart today virtually, we'd love to have y'all join us all in person. Scan the second QR code to reserve your in-person campus tour today. And as we continue on from our virtual visit, thank you so much for joining us today on behalf of everyone on the back and UC Berkeley Visitor Services and the Office of Undergraduate Admissions. Thank you for joining us today. And we're going to end with one of our most beloved traditions of shouting "Go Bears" at the end of our tours. So I'm going to have Rohil and Jasmin unmute themselves really quickly. And on the count of 3, and you should do it as well back at home, we're going to shout "Go Bears." We ready? 1, 2, 3. Go Bears!
Go Bears!
Have an amazing night, folks, from wherever you're joining us today. Thank you so much. Have a great day, night, or evening, or afternoon.